Hello and welcome back to Devil's Gambit. We will be continuing where we left off, which if you recall is after we found out more or less the backstory of the dragon dude. I'm forgetting his name. We found out that yes, he does have a mouth in his stomach, which is connected to the gluttonous dark god, which he was sort of the avatar of. But after being forced to do something unfortunate with somebody that he loved, for lack of a better word, he decided to do away with the whole cult that was, worshipping this dark god. But prior to that, we also discovered that Rain, which is Run Sky, and Cadgan are both conspiring to use him in order to, I guess, get Manuel to stop trying to get into the valley. By trying to get him to, I guess, discover some false things about Manuel. But yeah, in doing that, they decided to get into his memories. What is his name? Oh, Silvereth. Yeah, Silvereth's memories. And that's where they discovered the whole backstory and everything. But yeah, so technically speaking, you could say that Rain/Run Sky and Cadgan are sort of like the avatar for the sleeping dark god, in the same way that Silvereth was the avatar for the gluttonous dark god. So yeah. Anyways, there was a little bit of a discussion between Rain and Cadgan about having to eventually come clean to Hector. And I'm assuming that's going to be coming up soon. Because, I mean, that is a natural progression of things, right? Especially if Silvereth is involved, because it seems that Silvereth is right now looking for Cadgan. And the only other person that he can speak to about Cadgan would be Hector, because, I mean, but yeah. Anywho, so yeah. I guess without further ado, let us continue Devil's Gambit and see what's gonna happen. Act 2, Chapter 13, The Price of Truth. Somewhere in Renai's forest, a heretic monument stands tall, proof of the foolishness of man. How long did it take the ancient wolves that escaped the valley to weave tales, set traps and deceive would-be conquerors, and lead them to their death? Imagine how many traditions they came up with that would stand the test of both time and oblivion, festivals, rituals, and inconspicuous sigils that, even after having their purpose eroded from the town's memory, still fulfilled their tasks. How ingenious and risky was a web constructed by the ancient wolves of Renai. Imagine all of that just for a duke from some foreign kingdom to walk into town and decide that he can spit on our taboos and build himself a castle close to the valley, but not too close because that's the most a coward's heart can muster. And yet, even this nature reclaims. Since last year, that tunnel had been our safe passage into the mansion. We do not need to worry about the guards watching over the entrance or making rounds in the lower floor and making sure that every last window is closed. We simply appeared from behind the portrait. Then Rain would sneak into Manuel's room and torment him. The mansion's doors lacked the sigils that allowed us to so easily access any part of Renai. But procuring a master key from an unsuspecting servant solved that issue, and the secret passage made a great hiding spot for it. When a soldier began guarding Manuel's door, we simply switched to sneaking into one of the many unused neighboring rooms to torment him in his dreams instead. As Rain once again emerges from behind the portrait, he instinctively glances towards the Duke's bedroom. However, that isn't our objective tonight. Rain walks up the staircase, and after a brief exchange to convince him to not slide down the handrail, makes his way to the ground floor and takes a turn towards the east wing. His demeanor quickly changes then. He smiles at first as he no doubtably recalls our first few encounters with Hector. But soon he adopts a more somber expression. The memories from that time are a blur to me, so I can't tell what's going on through his mind. I sense the panic, fear, and confusion bubbling up, but none of them overflow to me. "Let's go, Rain." He doesn't respond, simply trudging along until we reach the laboratory's door. The so-called research wing is much larger than it was back in Leopoldino's day, but it doesn't matter. Silvereth will probably turn this place upside down very soon, so any room should do. But Rain keeps going until we reach the room Leopoldino had originally used as his laboratory. Rain stops in front of the door and reaches for the bundle hanging from his belt. In it, an Earth Helper, the one we stole when this whole mess started. Leopoldino claimed to have invented these trinkets, but the truth is that they come from the valley's depths. On top of protecting the crops, or rather as part of the process, they use the ice essence as a catalyst and purified it to nature's essence. So to make it work with normal magic, Leopoldino meddled with the design, and now they take magic and spread the ice corruption instead. It's not good, but we managed to take advantage of it by modifying this particular Earth Helper to produce enough corruption to make patches of haze leaf sprout in a matter of minutes. So far, Rain had been using it to block off parts of the valley during the expeditions, but now it'll serve a different purpose. Silvereth should understand the true nature of the Earth Helpers by now. Tomorrow he will investigate the mansion, eventually arriving at this laboratory and find this. And then he'll understand. Whether there is a demon in Renai or not doesn't matter, because the one pushing into the valley is, and has always been, the Duke, and the Conquerors, and the Kings. We suffered the consequences of making contact with the Eye so long ago. Why must we struggle so much just to prevent others from willingly walking into the same fate? What truth do they seek that is worth all of this? Silvereth has been fighting this war, he with one foot on nature's soil and the other in his dark god's realm, should be able to tell who is the actual culprit disturbing the Eye's sleep. This is a wordless pact, or perhaps a deal, between us. He may believe Manuel has been using a modified Earth Helper to intentionally produce haze leaf to research it, but most likely he'll realize Manuel is being framed. But even if he does, he should see that this represents his chance to put a stop to the real threat, as long as he goes along with the deception, as long as he turns it into a new truth, he can stop Manuel. Rain sighs and opens the door to the laboratory. The moment the air inside reaches us through the gap in the door, he stops. A macabre mix of chemical smells, waste, and death hits us all at once. Before I can process what's happening, Rain throws the door open and rushes inside. On a table in the center of the room, we barely make the silhouette of somebody lying on it. Rain's gaze is fixed on the figure as thousands of thoughts run through his mind. Then the clouds outside part and let moonlight come through the window. It's not much, but it's just enough for us to make out all the details. The missing limbs, the abdomen sliced open, the eyes rolled almost all the way back, and the mouth agape as if screaming silently. And that is... I see. Come to think of it, wasn't he suspiciously absent from the games? Right. So here you were, Alistair. Why? Why are you here? Why? Whatever the reason, whatever he did, the Duke didn't let him die easily. And now, even in death, he's a subject. Those flasks near him. Right. Those must be his organs in them. But what makes his gaze go red is when the clouds reveal to us the contents of the shelves to our sides. Organs, eyes, legs, and arms. All of them most certainly from wolves. Most of them must have come from the corpses that he pillaged from the cemetery, surely. But didn't a bunch of older wolves, especially those who quickly fell behind on their taxes once they got injured in the expedition, just happen to get into accidents that required amputating this or that part? I remember rumors about that. Right. We were so busy planning how that we'd deal with the expeditions that we didn't stop to think about it, let alone confirm it. But we did hear it. Rain trembles, and it's like I'm falling from a waterfall. My ears ring as a tremor overwhelms them, and I can't get a hold of him. And it's not from a lack of trying. As much as I kick, bite, and claw at my surroundings, lost in my rage, nothing stops my fall. It's happening again. It's the same as that night. But it's not just Rain this time. I swear, the moment that I get a hold of our body, I'll run upstairs, tear down the door, and wrangle Manuel's neck, I'll split him open and bathe on his guts as he draws his last breath. Rain's mind meanwhile frays at the edges as a different element attacks it. Sorrow. He looks at Alistair's vacant eyes, turned up and so very still in a way so contradictory to life and to all the times that we've seen him before. That asshole. That stubborn fucking bastard. Why? And in Rain's mind, I see it. Us as children again, the times that we played and pranked him, both before and after we came to be. He's gone now too, isn't he? Another one sent off to the unknown. At least the one that came before won't be so lonely now, won't he, Cadgan? Alistair at least died only once. What will it be like for us? I feel the invisibility spell break. It begins as his mind retreats, overwhelmed by everything that he sees and feels, and shatters when he catches a shadow out of the corner of our eye. Finally, I pull myself out of the vortex of rage and try to understand what it is that we're looking at. It's not a shadow, but a silhouette. Then we notice another and another. At some point, the towering figures of wolves had surrounded us. His hooves drag on the floor as he steps back. A pandemonium of emotions rise to the surface. Confusion, realization, terror. I see. It's 13 of them. They are all still here, still alive, if this can be called life. This could have been our fate if we weren't so lucky. Aren't we lucky, Rain? Aren't we? One of the silhouettes shambles towards us, raising a translucent hand. Its fingers slowly approach our forehead. And then Rain throws himself at it, clawing at it. The fragile shadow disperses, and in a mad dance, he takes swing after swing at the others, breaking their forms, making them disappear, like they were never here to begin with. And at the end of it, Rain is left heaving, his gaze and arms pointing downward. Once the fear recedes enough for his consciousness to return, he looks at his hand, examining the dust stuck to our fur. But he can't push himself to speak. Words have escaped from his mind. Pollen. That's what it looks like, what it smells like. But it's exactly not what it is. If those really were the other subjects, then that must have been what happens to those who reach the highest level of exposure to the eye. The highest level in a location otherwise cut off from its influence, at least. That is their fate, then? For their remnants to be stuck in the moments leading to their deaths? Or could they still be alive, reliving those moments forever? Rain, are you okay? He's not. It's too much. He can't take it. We don't have time to grieve here. By God, we will leave our brother here unmourned, without even a prayer, along with the remains of the elders that we knew. All the while, ghosts of our past linger in torment. Was that really them? I don't know. Part of me wishes this to be a valley creature, but why would it imitate the other subjects? Why would it be localized within this part of the mansion? The truth is naked to the eye. And such deceit would be too fathomable, too human for a dark god. Do you think Mom and Dad also... No. They must have died before Leopoldino got his hand on that essence. Right, Cadgan? Right? That would make the most sense. But what I say does not stick. The idea bounces off and does not enter his side of our mind. Rain holds our left hand in front of his eyes before extending it towards the window. Moonlight sneaks between our fingers as he rotates it, examining it from multiple angles. Then, ever so slowly, as I did once in front of Hector, he tries touching the tip of our fingers with our thumbs. His movements are clumsy and shaky, much more than mine. Rain, we shouldn't stay here any longer. But he does not hear me, and despite the quiet around us, I see a tornado brewing inside of us. Mom and Dad, this happened to them too. They are still in pain. Their suffering will never end. He can't take it. It's too much. I could take us back to town, but I can't even approach him in this turmoil, let alone pull him down. Rain. Rain! His ears swivel. There's just a glimmer of awareness left. Give it to me. That pain, all those thoughts, I'll hold onto it and chew through it for the both of us. When we're safe, I'll share what remains of it with you, and we'll carry it together. His jaw remains tense. I feel his gaze shifting inside our mind. He's looking at my thoughts, trying and failing to make sense of them. He sees them and me as a swarm of things that he cannot comprehend, a massive school of fish rearranging itself in impossible shapes, a vast and inscrutable thing like the sea in Silvereth stream. And I see him as a chaos of ill-defined and ever-shifting emotions, a tornado of impulses crashing against itself in the world, sunlight, air, and fire. And between us there is a membrane, thinner than an eggshell, no thicker than amniotic sac around a newborn. It's a streak of wet sand between continent and ocean, a layer that keeps us apart, through which we communicate. It was always there. Rain and I, from the moment that we came to be, intuitively knew that it existed between us. We've pushed things through it for so long, but never paid attention to the thing itself. And all at once it comes together. I find the words, the emotions, I see it through Rain's eyes. Trust your other self, the brother who loves you. Let me carry your pain. He relaxes his hand and lets it go. All the grief and sorrow rush out of him and past the membrane. The ocean around me goes dark, but before all light goes out, I still catch a glimpse or two. Rain picking up the earth helper and throwing it into the back of her drawer. A last look at Alistair's body, a prayer, the invisibility spell. Moonlight at the end of a tunnel. The river lit by fireflies. Dark, quiet woods. Nothingness. I've run away from this pain for too long. It's time that I face the tune. Find somewhere safe and wait it out, Rain. Our plan will go well. Tomorrow Manuel will take the bait. Silvereth will investigate the laboratory, and he will connect the dots. No more lies. The truths, old and new, are on our side. No good built on falsehoods would last, and this nightmare will soon come to an end. But, Manuel, was that really all you were looking for all along? You fool. You can't find this in a corpse. If you felt it in yourself, you wouldn't even know it. Without love, you'll never have the eye to see. A knock on the door snaps me out of my trance. I put down the pen and go open it. Paolo walks in with a basket full of purplish weeds. He's heaving and his mane has a leaf or two stuck in it. Here it is. I don't know why you want this thing. You're not gonna smoke it, will you? It's better to experiment with these things than the much more valuable dusk viper samples. The lion nods, standing with both hands on his waist, and I kneel to inspect the loot. I must admit that the haze leaf being so abundant in town has turned out to be a blessing in disguise. What am I a herbalist for if not to refine the essence of the ingredients that I have on hand? Everything is composed of its own essence. That is true for the Dark God too. Probably. This is a bit of a leap I'm making, and if I'm wrong, I suppose nothing will come out of this experiment. But if I'm right, there is a new world of problems to bash my head against. I'm not sure what refining the Dark God's essence or something close enough to it would even entail, or what would be the risks. Could the hospital be overrun by haze leaf? Could I turn into a monster? Could I awaken the eye and the end of the world? I have no clue. And that aside, I'm worried about Run Sky. I can't imagine that he'll approve of me helping the Duke with this endeavor. If he tells me to stop, I'm planning to obey him, but I could really use this job. I had all but given up on Oblin, but perhaps with this I could turn things around, not just for me, but for the people who still live there. Maybe I'm asking for too much by hoping that he'll understand, or even help me mitigate the risks as I carry on with his experiments. I close my eyes, looking inward, reaching for anything that'll allow me to reach a compromise, and then I hear it again, that guiding voice within me, that part of me that I chiseled to Dad's image. We finally arrived here, Hector. Did you not see it coming? That eventually that you'd need to choose between your hometown and your demonic lover? Or did you forget that he opposes the man paying you? Perhaps you ran into his arms merely because you had lost all hope. And now that you see a light at the end of the tunnel, you listen to me? Is that it? Quoted with a condescension. Do you see a way out of this or not? Not one that lets you have your cake and eat it too. If you feel like you're being cornered, know that this is a result of your contradicting desires. All you can do is the usual. The usual? Keep working. Keep pushing forward. It's what you always do, no matter how dire your surroundings. In between attempts at refining the haze leaf, I find time to go over Finbar's book. This morning, it occurred to me that the old symbols written here, such as the Run Sky one, could also be runes. Comparing them with the sigil on the loincloth, I find some matches, but the book at most talks about their linguistic use, and if I'm lucky, their pronunciation. The orange hue of the sunset comes through the window by the time that I'm about ready to call it a day. With a sigh, I lift my eyes from the book and stare at the brewer as a mixture inside evaporates and is filtered through its tubes. At the end, all that drips into the flask are a few thick, shimmering drops, purple like the devil's ears. Checking it with a prismalion makes me think that I must be on the right path. This essence looks nothing like anything that I've ever seen before. At times, it flows almost resembling that of a living being. However, these moments are brief. Patterns arise and then quickly become distorted, giving rise to yet more patterns that evolve into eternal recursion. That said, I had hoped to at least cobble together a functioning sigil by now, one to purify the Dark God's influence. As far as I can tell, it's the only way to guarantee my safety and prevent a potential haze leaf infestation. The loincloth sigil doesn't respond to the substance, but judging from its complexity, I suspect that it's only meant to work in a very specific context of Runsky making love to me. I'll need something with a more general application. And this is a delicate matter. I can't just throw together some runes that look like they might work and hope for the best. Too much is at stake. Perhaps it's best to stop the experiment for now, then. As I reach forward to touch the torch, a shiver goes up my spine. For just an instant, it's like somebody is breathing down my neck. Slowly I turn around, but there is nobody there. Run Sky? No response. However, I do hear faint clicks and a scraping sound. The strange part is that it's coming from next to me. Swallowing saliva, I look to my right and see somebody sitting next to me at the table. A lamp next to him illuminates the source of the noise. He's engraving shapes into a smooth piece of silver. The precision with which he handles the graver is captivating. Once it grabs me, with every little sound that happens as a result turns into a soothing song, making me relax my shoulders. With a blink, I look up at the man. He's tall. His arms and face have a mixture of black and white fur. He reminds me of Dad, but he doesn't look quite right. The longer that I stare at him, the more he looks like a wolf, not a badger. But this is Dad, right? It just feels right to call him that. What's the matter, Snowball? I blink, my eyes fixated on the silver. I recognize what he's engraving. It's one of the many runes that I've seen in Finbar's book. Dad smiles, letting me take a better look, as all of a sudden my shoulders just barely go above the edge of the table. Do you like it? What is it for? The wolf furrows his brows as he pretends to think about it. Well, by itself it does nothing. But if we add a couple more runes, we can turn this into a sigil that makes a bird's song. Neat, huh? Oh, can you show me? With a sympathetic smile, he opens a drawer and produces another piece of silver from it. This one has several runes enclosed by a circle, a proper sigil. He places it in front of me. Try it out. I glance into those blue eyes for an instant before I put my hand on the sigil. However, the moment magic concentrates on the tip of my fingers, nothing happens. Dad gives me a gentle chuckle. Unfortunately, the sigils aren't for us to use, Snowball. What do you mean? Let's say that you made contact with the Eye one day. What do you think would be the first thing to change? I've got no idea. I'd grown extra eyes is my best guess. But before I can answer, he goes on by himself, as if somebody had answered for me. Indeed. It'd be your hands. The eye's way to claim a living being is by first changing how they interact with the world to the most functional level, by changing how they can do magic. Back when the shamans were around, they came up with these sigils so that they would be able to use magic, and in the process they discovered many spells that weren't possible with traditional sigils. Such as this one, or the one that makes you invisible. As I keep touching the sigil, I realize its feeling is off. Rather than a cool silver surface, it feels like paper. I squint, concentrating with all my might on it. Ever so slightly, images take shape behind the sigil: brewing equipment, a pen, and Finbar's book, which is open on the root Dad is carving into silver. With effort, you move your hand towards the book. You grab it from the edge and drag it towards you, careful not to knock it off the desk. Isn't this fascinating, Hector? Look at how the Dark God's essence glows. It's but a few drops, but there is no doubt that this is all a product of its power. But what is this? A mirage? A memory? Or a dream? Whatever it is, it appears to be related to this room. It is part of the sigil that he's carving after all. You drag your hand across the page, as if trying to discern a meaning hidden in plain sight. It's done. Despite my best attempt to hold onto my inner voice, as soon as Dad speaks, I'm dragged back to that warm evening when I watched him carve. He holds the birdsong sigil, smiling with pride. The instant that I take it into my small hands and look into it, I feel myself being dragged by the currents of time towards a different moment. Today, right now, Dad is looking at me with an inquisitive expression. I shake my head and rub my eyes, feeling as though I'm about ready to puke out what little remains of the breakfast are well cooked. What's happening? The sensation mercifully doesn't last long, as the weight of the past crushes it until it's no more. As if he heard my question, Dad shifts in his chair, prodding his chin with a wooden end of a graver. You shouldn't think of a sigil as something that you can touch. Sure, you can draw it, but the drawing is just a representation of the real nature of the sigil, the symbol. Like everything else, the sigil is defined by its essence, and like everything that has essence, small changes can accumulate with time. It's like those statues Irden likes to sculpt. You take a log and chip away at it, and over time those tiny changes add up to give it a unique shape. That capacity essence has to retain changes is what we call memory, Snowball. These old sigils, even if everything, including us, forgets about them, they possess their own memory, a memory more reliable than ours, or even that of silver. Each line is as heavy as a century. The simple act of staring at the carved shapes crushes any thought, leaving me standing there, mouth agape, moving it like a fish out of water. Before I realized it, I could no longer do that thing where I close my eyelids. I had simply forgotten how to. Then I realized that I also forgot to do that thing where I use my legs to hold up my body, and soon I am holding onto the desk so as not to fall. But wait, am I not sitting down in reality? Or am I standing? Shit, which was it? And what else am I going to forget at this rate? People? Places? How to breathe, perhaps? Once again, the currents of time dragged me away. The world goes dark, just long enough to make me wonder if this is death, before spitting me back out in the workshop alongside Dad. I'm just a bit taller, just enough to reach his shoulders, as he peruses some sort of old tome. He's in the middle of transcribing it. You have to wonder what went through the shaman's mind when they did this. I recognize that book. It's the one that was left behind by the Dragon expedition, the same one Ricardo had told me about when I visited Manuel's cabinet. The sigil within its pages is engraved on many tall walls in the valley. Right. Didn't the Dragon's journal say that they ran into one of those, and that they had a relic that they intended to use on it? This relic? What was it? If they were looking for that sigil, then why would they allow themselves a way back into the valley after everything that happened? Perhaps they were worried about abandoning the valley altogether. After all, they had become a part of its ecosystem, purifying the eye's essence with their magic. Or were they not ready to part with their dark god? Was the power and prosperity it offered too great to definitively seal it away? Or did fear motivate them? Did they, after foreseeing the endless violence and subjugation that awaited their people in the future, leave an entryway for future generations? Everything shakes and creaks under the weight of the past and its uncertainty. I feel myself about ready to be pulled away by the current of time when I notice that I'm holding something in my hand. Not without effort, you remember the birdsong sigil. Your hand trembles, yet you steady yourself, grab the pen, and slowly trace a circle on your journal. A little more, Hector. You're almost there. It's done. Now take it and put it in closer to the fire. Squint your eyes. Can you see it? I see it. It only lasts a brief moment, but it's enough for me to thrust my arm forward. In that instant, the dream shatters, and the singing of dozens of birds that are not here welcomes me back to reality. Before I can worry about it, I wrecked my equipment or set my journal ablaze. I need to turn off the torch. I sit on my chair with my shoulders slouched and heaving deep breaths. What the hell just happened? Was that because of the eye? There isn't any other explanation, is there? This really is too dangerous. I was too naive to think the biggest danger was some haze leaf sprouting. I feel that I barely dodged death, yet I've got no clue what it is that almost killed me. And that wolf, what was that? The sigil that he was drawing worked and purified the dark god's essence in the process, so that it wasn't an illusion. It was real. Everything he said, the sigils he showed me, those were real. I grabbed my journal, which I only barely managed to avoid burning, and mechanically draw the sigils that I saw during that dream. Once I'm finished, I lean back in my chair and stare at them. I could use them to protect myself as I originally planned, but this really isn't worth it. I don't want to risk anything like this happening again. It's then that I hear a knock at the door. Paolo heard birds singing, and it was so loud that he came to check if some animal had broken in. When he sees nothing out of the ordinary in the room, he shrugs and after some small talk, says that he's heading home. I didn't realize how late it had gotten. Time to follow his example. God knows that I need a rest. I remember a Sunday morning during spring, before I came to Renai, before Dad took me on my first work trip with him, before I even knew the 5 layers. Aunt Nora and I went to the church. She was holding my little hand tight, afraid that I might run off to some distraction. That day the priest spoke about dreams, how nature whispers through them. What makes an oracle or a prophet is not any kind of magical talent. Instead, it's only a matter of having the perception and insight to understand. But in all of these dreamless nights I've had lately, it seems as though God has forsaken me. I don't know if I believe what the preacher said, but at this point, a part of me wants to, because at least it'll explain where this feeling is coming from. Like I can't breathe, as if all the air in Renai has been sucked out. It's as if life itself is coming to an end. Is this the eye's presence? God, we're not even food for it, are we? We aren't even that much. We are air. It won't even bother killing us. We'll be breathed in and become the haze that its dreams are made of. God, help us. Wake up. Something warm and soft takes a hold of me. All sounds are muffled, but his voice alone comes through with a distant ring of clarity. Even through the drowsiness, I feel the tenderness with which it envelops me, the care bordering on fear that goes into every movement, the solitude hiding underneath. I turn around with a groan and return the hug. Now a heartbeat accompanies the delicate touch. It sings me a lullaby, so soothing and familiar that I almost fall into a deep slumber. But a kiss on my forehead, softer and lighter than any flower the Eye Valley has ever produced, pulls me out. Slowly and with effort, I open my eyes and find Rensky holding me. He says nothing, but tightens his hug around me. Rensky? He nuzzles my forehead again, laying kiss after kiss between my ears. And I chose to stay there, in his warmth, in the safety of his arms, in that dreamlike haze. Until wakefulness creeps in and what I had been doing earlier returns to my mind. The substance that he extracted from the haze leaf, the work for the Duke, all for money. He's read my mind before. By now he should know, right? If he didn't glimpse it while I was asleep, surely he can hear me now. But that's not what I see in his eyes. I've never seen him needier or sweeter than this, so content with so little. Could it be that he's already found out and decided to forgive me? Can I even be so hopeful? Or is there something else going on? Maybe he's preoccupied with the Inquisitor. Maybe the reality of what I've done hasn't hit him. Will he feel betrayed? The thought digs its claws deep into me, ready to rip me apart at any moment. Endure it, Hector. You knew this was coming, right? At least try to explain yourself. Hector. I cannot but squirm under his gaze. I try to utter apologies and explanations all at once, but nothing makes it past my lips. But I'm not the only one who's tense. For the first time, I catch uncertainty in his eyes, and when he opens his mouth, he stops himself at the last moment. So we remain still, unsure of what to say to each other. Finally, he tries to smile and fails. I'm not feeling it tonight. Not feeling what? He opens his mouth, as if to answer my question, but bites his tongue, all while his eyes dart back and forth, searching for something that he cannot find. It is a full minute before he says anything, and every word is born as if from a great struggle. You know how your hand or your leg can go numb? You can't feel it anymore, can't move. It's like it's not even there. Dragging yourself on the floor because you can't move your other half. At the same time, everything is too much and numb. That's me with my mind. Feels like half of it is locked up, and... He looks lost. I've never seen anyone with such a helpless look in their eyes. I'm not used to this quiet. What do you mean? Again, he looks away, searching for something, but nothing catches his eye. He seems lost. I don't know. Please, can you... please hold me? I don't know what's going on, but I nod. After another moment of silence, he leans closer. Our mouths join, and despite my confusion, I close my eyes and return his affection, as if it's the most natural thing. He kisses me with a tenderness too vast to have started a few weeks ago, when we met. He said that he'd stand in for Cadgan, but now it's as if he truly had taken those 9 years of unfulfilled affection to finally pour them into me. My mind goes blank at first, but before long I'm taken in. I hold him by the shoulders and press our bodies together. It's nothing like the previous times. I see it in his eyes, in the bashfulness of his movements. He's not here to play, but seeking comfort, wanting to feel whole. The realization that he needs me as much as I need him makes me want him even more. His presence shoves every other thought into the back of my mind. Hector. I love you, Hector. I won't let you leave again. Yet, as he says it, I am reminded of what I've done, my work for the Duke, just as a chill runs down my spine. His hug around me tightens. He showers me with caresses and kisses in a way that it almost feels like I should be the one doing that, but perhaps his way of being comforted is giving that comfort to others. But it's unusual. In the past, I tried to decipher hidden meanings and intentions behind the demon's actions, but this time I realized that there is no mystery. Runsky wanted me and sought me out. That's all. This love that feels as if he truly incarnated Cadgan's unfulfilled passion from 9 years ago. Wasn't that what he promised me back when we first met? I may have overcomplicated things in my search for answers. Oh well, I can't complain about him scratching under my chin and kissing me in the forehead and neck. Closing my eyes, I smile and let out happy noises. However, a different question burns hotter and hotter in my heart until I can't ignore it any longer. But when I try to put it into words, it escapes me. Every time that I reach for it, it slips through my fingers. Is it that it keeps slipping through? Or are you too afraid to grab it, Hector? Stop thinking with your heart and use your head. It's your best part. You're unsettled because he said nothing about your recent experiments for the Duke. The demon's read your mind over and over in the past. He knows things that he couldn't otherwise. About you and Cadgan alike. He should know that you've dug too deep and the Dark God, even if briefly, got a hold of your mind. That now that you know things that you weren't meant to. Why has he not said a word about it? This is all very pertinent to him, being the keeper of the valley. I dare suggest that he doesn't know what you did. So, what does that mean? What is he really? Hey, you read minds, right? Yeah? He notices something is off. It's written on my face. His eyes are cautious, searching for something, and upon meeting with mine, there's a flash of realization, panic, and resignation all at once. Softly, I take his shoulder and push him, or rather nudge him really, to lie on his back as I straddle him. Are you a demon? Such a simple question, Hector. If he really is what he says he is, the answer should be at the tip of his tongue. And what do you see? He's paralyzed, wide-eyed, sinking on your bed, looking at you like a fawn surprised by a hunter. Saying nothing, as if waiting himself for an answer that will not come. Could it be? I always thought Runsky was more like Cadgan, that I knew the mountain of a wolf currently walking around Ranai. Could it be that this was not just a coincidence? Hector, just look at him, his face. It's right there. He looks just like that day, ages ago. He's the living image of Cadgan that day. Just what are you? His eyes harden. For a moment I see spite. Or is it hurt? I can't really tell anymore. But it only lasts a second. Just as quickly as that spark of focus came, it goes away and leaves behind a vacant gaze. Tomorrow, the nightmare will be over, and only the truth will remain. What does that even mean? I'm about to grab his necklace and shake him when his gaze drifts away again. I am what's left of the Cadgan that you knew 9 years ago. And I'm a person, Hector, just like you. A shiver tears through my spine. As a tornado of emotions rushes through me, I hear that mocking cadence, making fun of me as I'm dead serious. And I see him there, the old Cadgan. That's what he'd do. So, all of that talk about you being thousands of years old, being woken up by the Duke approaching the valley, feeding on fear, being the devil of Ranai? It was a lie. I am not a demon, Hector. I can lie, and I cannot read minds. But I am the devil of Ranai. I've done exactly what my ancestors did. I protected Ranai from invaders and from the valley itself. This is what being a demon of Ranai always has been. And I know you, because together we spent the happiest days of our childhoods, and deep down you're still the same. And now, I'm telling the truth. I am what's left of the Cadgan that you knew and loved 9 years ago. He drags that hand over his chest, and for the first time I know that he's not trying to entice me. It's his old irreverence flaring again. Here I am, all grown up, with all the memories of our times together. Runsky's eyes remain locked with mine in silence. The entire world has gone quiet except for the occasional tear dropping on the wolf's fur. The truth, twisted and tangled as it is, forms a noose around my neck and begins choking me. Runsky motions as if to reach for me, but I recoil. That's not possible. Cadgan is... How can you be him when he's... How is that even possible? It doesn't make sense. His ears fold back. I wish that I knew how. No, give me a real answer. What are you? And if you're the old Cadgan, then what is the Cadgan that I've been seeing since I came here? Something changes in his gaze, so small and no more than a shift in the glimmer of his eye, as sudden as a creak tearing through glass. And yet, for the first time ever, I look at Runsky and feel real fear. Don't you dare talk about him like that, Badger. You're lucky that he can't see you like this. He slips from under me with an agility that I could not expect even from him. His eyes dart back and forth, but this time he's found what he's looking for. Speaking is no longer such a struggle. He is my other self, and for the 9 years that you were away, he was with me, day and night, even when Irnan couldn't. That child that you knew 9 years ago, that boy wouldn't have survived without him. And my name is Rain. I am not a demon, but I am a shaman. I am a dark god's avatar in this world. I am the closest the eye has ever made to a demon, and I have the magic to prove it. You think that the valley is dangerous? You've no idea what this body is capable of. You saw what a little slip-up could lead to back at the amphitheater. I didn't choose to be like this, but it is what I am. It is what I was meant to be. If time turned back to my childhood days, I'd end up threading the same path somehow. Even without Leopoldino taking my parents from me, even without him and your father experimenting on me. I'm what became of the Cadgan that you fell in love with, but I didn't get to keep his looks. But you still recognized me, didn't you, Badger? You recognized me. You, an outsider in this town of traitors, full of wolves who have forgotten what I am, alongside their duty towards nature. That is why you accepted me. Deep down, you knew that it was me beneath the mask of the devil. Runsky is a name that I came up with the day that I decided to don this ancient belt. But it's how I decided that I'd introduce myself to you the night of the leaf-burning festival. When you told Cadgan that you had hoped that he hadn't changed after those 9 years, and he had said that he couldn't give you what you wanted. I was there, Hector. I was always there, and Cadgan told you the truth. He couldn't give you what you wanted because even though he's my other self, we're not the same. He didn't want to be with you because the hurt from the 9 years was too great, but I did. And I begged, I cried, pulled his ear and choked him to please. You wanted me back, Hector. Something in me is this close to breaking. This is all insane, but in a twisted way it makes sense. It explains how Runsky or Rain knew so much about me, and why this alleged demon was working against his dark god. But if this is true, then Cadgan knew about us from the start? We both see what the other sees. He knew that we were... He is my other self. We are not the same, but we are one. Then, let me talk to him. I can't. Not now. Why? If everything you're saying is true, then you should be able to show it to me. Prove that it's not some mind game. I can't, Hector. Something happened tonight. It was too much. It was tearing me apart. I was about to lose it and we had to get out. He took the pain from me and he locked up instead. I can't reach him tonight. The last thing that he told me was to find someplace safe and wait for it to end. I don't understand. He steps forward to hold me by the shoulders, to caress my cheek. His words come out almost as if he's choking, and in that moment, I'm truly staring at the old Cadgan. I've been doing so all along since the night that he came to offer me that deal. I just couldn't comprehend it. I know that you don't, all right. It feels like your entire world just got turned upside down, doesn't it? But I really meant all that I told you that night that we made the deal. I do love you, and you do have a home here with me, with us. But then his breathing stabilizes, as if an invisible hand has let go of his throat. If only one thing I said is truth, then it was that. Please don't doubt that. I don't want to doubt that, but... I shake my head. All I can do is cry out of sadness for the lies that we've been telling each other, the frustration of missing what's been in front of me all along, and the rage at what nonsense my life has turned into. Rain reaches out to me again, but I stop him just a centimeter short of my face. Stop, He lowers his ears again, waiting for my next words, with bated breath. There is so much that I want to say and ask, but the moment that I look into that pleading gaze, all of it fades away. I need a moment to sort all my thoughts. Please. He looks away, his lips trembling ever so slightly. I see. Then I shall let you be for now. I nod, and the wolf slips from under me and out of the bed. I just stare at the blankets as he gathers his belongings. He walks up to the door, stops, and then his gaze falls upon me one last time. By the time that I look up, nobody is there anymore. Ah, good morning, friend. Are you good? I just didn't sleep well. A hearty meal will pick you right up. I take a seat at the bar and proceed to rub my eyes. It'd be more accurate to say that I didn't catch a wink last night. Even now, last night keeps repeating in my mind. I go over Ranskai's, or rather Rain's, words meticulously over and over, always ending with that hurt expression at the very end. Just, what have I been doing? Why do I feel like this? Because Cadgan and Rian kept secrets from me? Because he rejected me that night and before dawn, he had already snuck into my bed? I don't understand, but after a night of thinking it over, it really seems that Cadgan didn't approve of Rian seeking me out. At least, not at the start. It's the only thing that makes sense. What kind of relationship do these two have then? Perhaps, like with everything else, I should take Rian's words at face value. He's not a demon. He's capable of lying, but if he's the closest thing to a demon there is, then all of his words may carry a fragment of truth. Forget about how it's possible for him to have been the old Cadgan, about how them sharing a body works and how they did this or that if he's not a demon. Then, did all of this start because of a disagreement between them? Come to think of it, Cadgan sure became very forthcoming with information about the valley from that point on, despite wanting to keep me away from it. They knew that I'd seek answers, didn't they? They gave me a glimpse of the truth, just a glimpse to stop me from digging deeper. This is frustrating, but I have to admire just how resourceful he is. Damn it. At the end of the day, I don't have much of a leg to stand on. I also hid many things from Cadgan. Some of them were about Oblin, some of them were about Runsky. At least regarding Runsky, I rationalized it as me not having a choice after selling my soul. I couldn't defy him or seek help even if I wanted to. But now it feels as though it was an excuse. Sure, I didn't know that he wasn't a demon, but did I not at least suspect it? I don't know. It's just frustrating. I've given it my best to understand Cadgan. I really have, but how can I do that when he's kept such a key piece out of my reach? Was it because he was afraid? Did he not trust me? I don't think that it's that he didn't want to be understood. That just doesn't sound right. Maybe we're the same, he and I. When I first arrived in town, I wanted to explain to him why I had been absent for 9 years. I wanted to let him understand the wounds that kept me away, and that despite them, I still cared about him and wanted to make up for that time that we lost. But I was too much of a coward to show him that ugly, weak side of myself. Instead, I waited for him to rip me open and tear it out of me. Perhaps Cadgan has been doing the same, and I am the one who failed to give him what he gave me. I'm in the middle of eating my lunch when I hear somebody sitting next to me. My body freezes for a moment, but it turns out to be just Fergus. It's unusual that he's approaching me, and then I notice him looking around and tapping the bar with his claws. Hey. Hello? He orders some ale and Arwell happily obliges. After taking a sip, he looks at me again. Hector, have you seen Cadgan as of late? I guess I have. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. What's the matter with you? Sorry. I'm nervous is all. I can't find Alistair. I haven't seen him since the day of the games. I thought Cadgan might have been able to find him. He likes sticking his nose in other people's business. But now, I can't find him either. He raises his arms in surrender and then drops them back on the bar. What the hell is going on? You don't look too well either. I didn't catch any sleep last night. Well, if you say so. He's probably just worried. I'd freak out a little if I noticed two friends disappearing in short succession. Well, I did meet Cadgan, it's just... I don't want to talk about it. I don't know where he went. That's so. Guess I'll run into him sooner or later then. I could tell that he was curious about what happened between me and Cadgan, but just after averting my gaze, he took the hint and just remained silent in his seat, thinking as he watched Arwell work. There's also that Inquisitor. He's been going around pestering folks with questions. I thought that they already knew that there was no demon in the valley. I tried telling him that, but he's determined to find how that haze leaf got to the amphitheater. Probably one of Manuel's experiments going awry. He's following his father's footsteps, desecrating our holy sites in search of that fifth layer hogwash. You know, people are getting real sick of this. It'd be his fault and Manuelino's when something regrettable happens. Yes, it will be. And what might that something be? My blood freezes and Fergus's face looks like that of a frog for an instant, but he quickly gathers his wits and turns to the Inquisitor. Arwell tries to greet him, but Silvereth signals for him to go away. He's only interested in the two of us. Well, there's no telling what may happen to an outsider that makes it his mission to make enemies with the locals. How fearsome. It's a miracle nothing happened to Hector yet, then. Fergus, who has been ready to shoot a retort that moment Silvereth finished speaking, paused. I also had no idea why he had suddenly shifted the topic towards me. Hector, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you before. I've been busy, you see, and we haven't run into each other much, so I just didn't have the chance. But see, when I told Disgrace about your accomplishment with the Dusk Viper Venom, and he came up with a wonderful idea of giving you a promotion, I was interested. What do you mean by that? I've been following your research very closely. It is in part out of academic curiosity, but also for your safety. Who knows what may happen while studying the valley so closely after all? Hey, what are you getting at? But I understand. I understand perfectly. Shit, he knew that I was getting promoted. He's been keeping tabs on me. After talking about Cadgan, I hoped that he had lost interest in me. I thought that he was only interested in the mansion's situation 9 years ago. What he probably means is, he went to check my workplace last night and somehow figured out what I did. You don't look so good. Hector, what's wrong? May I suggest that you take some fresh air? I can come along to make sure that you're okay. Fuck off. I'll go with them. Come, Hector. Let's get away from this freak. The wolf gets up, but Silvereth steps between us and the exit. With a crooked smile, Fergus steps forward, cracking his knuckles. The tavern is mostly silent except for Arwell's fearful mumblings as he hides behind the counter. What? You think that I'm too afraid to knock off your teeth just because you look like you ate an entire beast for breakfast? Stand down, worm. I am not interested in you. I think I'll start with your dragon teeth. However, before he can take another step, I grab him by the shoulder and pull him back. Stop. Silvereth, let's continue this somewhere else. What the hell, man? You don't have to listen to him. Maybe not, but right now I'm terrified of what Silvereth may reveal to the entire tavern if he keeps talking. The locals don't like him, but he's still an Inquisitor. his word may well carry more weight than Manuel's when it comes to the demonic. I'll be okay. Trust me. No, you won't. You already look like shit. Alright, but look. We'll be right back, okay? I look at Silvereth and the dragon nods. Fergus doesn't like it one bit, but seeing my insistence, he finally decides to back off. After we leave the tavern, we begin walking towards the Baron. Silvereth is silent. Naturally, this isn't a matter that we can discuss within the reach of prying ears. What? It doesn't seem like we're being followed. Silvereth turns to me, extending one hand forward. You have your journal on you, don't you? Hand it over. I grip the strap on my bag, stepping back. I'll take it from you if I have to. Don't force my hand. You'll regret it. Even if he says that, all it does is make my body shut down. With a sigh, he grabs the strap on my bag and yanks it out of my grasp and from my shoulder. I wince as he nearly takes my arm alongside it. He goes through it, not letting me out of his view for a moment until he finds my journal. Is this where you keep your research? Yes. What's going on? Why are you doing this? Don't play dumb. Your study has a smell of a dark god all over it. I know what you're thinking, but I've never made contact with a dark god. Whatever you found was probably just from the haze leaf in my study. I'm trying to do what the Duke told me, research the valley's fauna. Sure, that's what he asked. But how does that end with you distilling the dark god's essence? Unless you plan to do something with it. Silvereth stops in a specific page, and after analyzing it for a few seconds, ignoring my attempts at explaining myself, he holds out the journal to show it to me. It's the one where I wrote down the sigils that I saw during yesterday's vision. Care to explain this? I've never seen such a sigil before. That's for, I'm overwhelmed by my heart hammering inside my chest. The entire world wobbles back and forth by itself, making it difficult to stand on my feet, let alone think. It creates a bird song, huh? My magic doesn't seem to work on it. But some of your co-workers did claim to hear birds singing inside the hospital yesterday, before you left. But if I put the dark god's essence near it, then it'd work, am I right? And it's not the only alien sigil that I see in these pages. What are you planning to do with all of this? And where did you even learn about these? He won't believe me, no matter what I say. If he's kept this close an eye on me, it's because he suspected me as much more than I ever imagined. Was Runsky sent that thick on me? The ironic part is that now I know that he wasn't a demon, he's just Rain. Even if telling that to Silvereth was a good idea, I've got no clue how to go about it. Rain called himself and Cadgan a shaman, but how do I explain that to Silvereth in a way that doesn't just make him more suspicious? It's useless. All I do is implicate Cadgan alongside me. What's wrong? Talk! But I can't. My throat has closed by now, and all I can do is a weird creaking sound. Silvereth closes the journal, giving me a contemplative look. He's no doubt considering if he wants to burn me now or later, in front of the whole town. Then, as if to match his next words, his grin grows sharper than a scalpel's edge. So, is Cadgan also contracted to the demon? Or could it be that he is the demon himself? Truth be told, I was suspicious of him from the start. I've seen my fair share of unusuals during my travels. I know well how surprising nature can be. It's that way that I learned to pick on the truly abnormal details. This awkwardness when it comes to using their hands, as if they have to practice the motions over and over because they don't come naturally to them. Those distant gazes like they're staring at somebody behind you. The way that they always know just the perfect thing to say, just the right intonation to appear disinterested or compassionate if it fits the situation. I've not heard Cadgan speak, but I am certain that he's like that, isn't he? Cadgan has nothing to do with this. Leave him alone. Silvereth raises an eyebrow at my sudden outburst, but his grin returns soon enough. Let me be direct. I know you're cohorting with a demon, and I know Cadgan is involved. Normally what I've discovered would be enough to put him on an inquisitorial trial, and at that point, it'd be unlikely for him to escape with his life. You... Even if rain isn't it, perhaps there is a devil in this forest, and it is possessing me. Otherwise, I cannot explain how it is that I find the courage to walk up to Silvereth and grab him by the neck of his tunic. It's almost like I'm pulling him down so that he looks me in the eye. I swear, if you touch him, I'll... What? You'll fix me some cough medicine? You'll be the one regretting coming to this town. I'll make sure of it, even if it kills me. Good. There's some fight in you after all. Then, should I take it that you'll do anything to protect Cadgan? He slaps my hand away, knocking me down onto my butt. What? If so, we may be able to reach a compromise. Ironically, it's the rage that overflowed from me that moment that he threatened Cadgan that allows me to ponder his words. This has to be another trap, but what else could he possibly want from me? He's already convinced both me and Cadgan have met a demon, so he could use us as scapegoats for the Hazeleaf infestation if he wanted. I don't like it. Perhaps he's bluffing and he needs more evidence before he can touch us, but I can't imagine the Inquisition being so strict about executing a suspect. Not with their reputation of decimating entire towns upon being deployed in full force. He must be seeking something else. At the very least, you should lend him an ear. It can't get much worse than this, Hector. What are you talking about? Truth be told, I suspect that there is a bigger threat in this town than a mere demon. And that would be... the Dark God itself. But the Dark God is asleep, isn't it? That's what I thought. But it might have been a mistake. I don't understand. If the Dark God was awake, wouldn't your people have found out about it about a year ago? The Inquisitors who visited this town last year were soldiers. Manuel claimed to have seen the demon in the flesh, so what little was investigated concerned the town itself and its outskirts. Demons tend to stick close to where people live, you see. So, they didn't investigate the valley itself beyond the ruins at its threshold. What I'm interested in now is the depths, the place where the eye dwells. They didn't investigate, but what makes you think that the eye is awake? You keep asking the wrong question, Doctor. Perhaps you're unaware of this, but the eye already woke up in the past. The wolves fled the heart of the valley in response and performed a final ritual to seal it, so that nothing could come in or out of the heart of the valley. That story, Rain told it to me once. I imagine Silvereth must have heard it from Irnan, so that means that it wasn't a lie. At most, Rain must have embellished parts of it to make room for Run Sky. But this doesn't necessarily mean the eye went back to sleep. It simply was contained. What's the difference? It can't expand its influence, right? Or else the town and who knows how much of the world would have been taken over by it a long time ago. A few years ago, Manuel's appraiser, Ricardo, recruited Cadgan to investigate the Earth Helpers. He had noticed the time that their development started coincided with the end of Leopoldino's much more successful expedition into the valley. They discovered their design had been based on an artifact of ancient Renai. I suspect that makes sense. Seeing as I couldn't find Cadgan, I asked Irnan about them. To acquire the original artifact, Leopoldino would have needed to breach the seal. Do you see the problem? Are you sure? Wouldn't that mean that the seal placed by the wolves was broken 11 years ago? Yes. The fact that Renai had not fallen under its influence might mean that it went back to sleep by itself at some point. Or maybe it is active, and the town has only stayed safe for as long as it has as a result of its superstitions. But that protection won't hold it back forever. There's no telling what might happen if the eye is ignored. Has a dark god ever awakened before? Silvereth closes his eyes and he sighs with a melancholy that is not his. It's the same expression Dad would make when thinking of Oblin's heyday, before the tyrant changed it forever, a moment deeply personal to him and yet not one in which he participated. It's also the expression Rain had when he told me the story of the valley. Do you know about the lost continent of Bodus? I've heard about it in passing. It's that story about dragon colonists making a pact with a demon. That story is based on the only awakening known to the Inquisition. For many years, the Dark God of Bodus was awake without much activity. However, when a war broke out over it, its influence rapidly spread, and in the span of a few decades, it had devoured the continent. Its followers continued their mad crusade, half drunk on power, half fleeing from their god, as if devoured everything in their wake. The fact that we're here today is nothing short of a miracle. Not only was Bodus devoured, the seas shrank, the curvature of the horizon changed, famine spread throughout every land, punishing even those who had managed to avoid the war. There were effects of its awakening that are ongoing to this day, which I am not at liberty to disclose. Do you understand? If the Eye awakens, we'll be lucky if the consequences of such an event only reach this level. I don't. It doesn't matter what he says. This is all too much to wrap my mind around, and yet there's one thing that I can hang on to. What does this have to do with Cadgan? The dragon smile grows ever so slightly softer. I don't know the nature of his deal with the demon, or if he came in contact with the Eye through other means. What's important is that he has been touched, and as such, it's inevitable that he will be targeted by my more cutthroat comrades. However, the discovery of Earth Helpers was partially thanks to him. Were this to lead to an effort to contain the Eye, I could make a case for the Inquisition to spare him. Even if he's touched? Yes, and there is precedent for it. Nature can sublimate nearly anything, even a dark god's corruption. This is the only way that I can guarantee his safety and yours. Silvereth seems almost sad as he speaks those last few words. He's trying to hide it, but there is a feeling there that breaks through the mask. I don't know what's the cause of his sorrow, but at the very least that alone makes me consider perhaps he's telling the truth right now. Whatever he wants from me, if he wanted it, he could take it by force right now. We're alone in the forest, and I can't defend myself against him. Suddenly it sinks in that he's giving me a way out. If I just do as he says, will everything be solved? Is it really that simple? A sob escapes me as I cover my face. My tears come out mixed with relief, fear, and a feeling that I'm lost in a vast ocean, all at once. Why did I have to take that damn promotion? Why couldn't I see through rain earlier? Why did I come back to Ranai? What do you want from me? I need a way into the valley. I need to confirm the Eye's status, and if the seal truly is broken, efforts must begin to restore it immediately. I see. And since he thinks that I've come into contact with a demon, he believes that I must know a way in. Any demon would lure me closer to its dark god. Is that it? There is a way in. Oh? In the valley, there are large walls marked by sigils. They are too high to climb, but if you activate the sigil, the way will open. But the last time that I distilled the essence we'd need for the sigils, well, I can't explain what happened, but it's too risky. I don't know how feasible it is to make large amounts of it to take into the valley. Iron, after being exposed to a campfire, does wonders to thwart the influence of dark gods up to a point. I can procure a fitting container for you. Then I should be able to do it. Good. I must make preparations before we head into the valley. Even if we know a way in, we can't just walk in by ourselves. Meet me at the Barren when the sun hits its peak. Understood? Yes. May I have my journal back? Silvereth offers it back to me but doesn't let go once I grab it. Remember what's at stake. Only after saying that he lets me go. With a nod, I turn around and silently make my way to the hospital. I don't know where he's headed, but I can't muster the will to ask or look where he's going as we part ways. I have a job to do. And you'll do it, because you are Aegon's masterpiece. Surely enough, around an hour after I got to work, Paolo came into the study with a small wooden box. He seemed a bit perturbed by it, or perhaps by my work with the haze leaf. Apparently a lion soldier had come to deliver it, which surprised him. Is Silvereth roping Manuel into this? I suppose it makes sense. Going into the valley's depths by ourselves would be far too dangerous, and without the Duke's help, we couldn't gather enough people or resources for an impromptu expedition. It's necessary, but I don't like it. I still blame Manuel and Leopoldino too, for all this. After Paolo leaves, I open the box and find inside some sort of iron flask. It's still just a little warm to the touch. The lid can easily be removed, but it seems constructed in such a way that it won't allow anything inside to spill out once closed. For the rest of the day, I continue making tiny amounts of that purple essence before depositing it into the iron flask and spinning shut the lid. I do have my journal open on the birdsong sigil all the time, but it ends up not being necessary. It's almost pleasant in how automatic of a task it is. I don't need to think about anything as I continue repeating the same steps over and over. The movements become as natural as blinking or breathing after long enough. The time Silvereth told me to meet with him again arrives before long. Silvereth is waiting for me at the edge of the forest, a few minutes away from the hospital. When I arrive, however, he is not alone. With him are several of Manuel's men, as well as a beast outfitted with a saddle. It's then that I see Manuel near the ladder, ordering around some guards to check the saddle, and the blinders are strapped tight. "Ah, there you are. I'm pleased to see you didn't change your mind. Do you have the essence with you?" "Yes, but what is he doing here?" The Inquisitor follows my gaze. "I understand taking some guards with us, but what about him?" "It was his condition to arrange this on such short notice. He wants to see the heart of the valley as well." He steps closer, lowering his voice. "He won't dare step out of line. If the Dark God's seal is broken, we know his father was responsible. The Inquisition won't hesitate to go after him and his family just because they are nobles." "I hope you're right." We take off not long after. The forest shadows look much deeper and darker today. The trees, which at times did occur to me look like hands, have dropped all pretense and reached for us, trying to scratch us and poke us in the eyes when we least expect it. The already treacherous earth is more vengeful, its paths twisting in ways as if to disorientate us and send us right back to town. However, eventually we do make it to the ruins outside of the valley, and after a brief break, we continue onward. Silvereth spearheads the march into the valley, accompanied by me to his left and a guard holding a map to his right. The dragon has his golden coin in his hand, ready to burn any threat that crosses our path. However, the walk to the wall is eerily quiet. It's strange, especially after how hostile the forest had been for us. It's almost as if the closer we get to the eye, the more nature's resistance wanes. It makes me think that Silvereth must really be right about the seal, and yet, the thought it is the eye that is luring us closer makes my stomach turn with uneasiness. I regret telling Rain to go away. I regret taking that promotion. I would have been better off remaining as uninvolved as possible with this, and yet, my sense of duty towards Oblin led me straight into the Inquisitor's grasp. Is this really the right course? Is it meant to be? Or did at some point that duty towards my hometown, which tempted me to expose the valley's secrets for the Duke, become more dangerous than a devil's temptation? The wall isn't anything like what I imagined. From a distance, it appears like the wall of an incredibly high fortress. But up close, it becomes clear that it's the fusion of countless roots and branches, which have lost their color and become frozen in time. Except for the sigil drawn on it. But how will we activate that sigil? It's too high up. Rather than completely blocking off the heart of the valley, the ancient wolves left behind the sigils of these walls in case they'd ever need to return. There has to be an easier way to activate it. I keep that to myself, but Silvereth reaches a similar conclusion on his own and orders us to look around for anything suspicious. And sure enough, one of the guards finds a stone slab marked by a sigil. As we gather around it, Silvereth gestures with a nod for me to step forward. With a deep sigh, I hand him the iron flask, removing the lid so that I can take a bit of the Dark God's essence into a dropper. Then I step forward, staring at the wall of stone like branches. We follow the steps of the Dragonic expedition from hundreds of years ago. I can only pray that, unlike them, we are not walking into our doom. Kneeling, I aim at the rune and let the essence out. With a glow, it is consumed, and the earth shakes. The countless fingers making the walls regain their color, and alongside it their life. With a symphony of creaking noises, they untangle, come apart, and burrow into the earth. Soon the path is clear. In the distance, going down the slope that gives the valley its basin shape, I can barely make out another wall. There are probably many more beyond that one, but together they do trace a path into the heart of the valley, straight into the eye's realm. I wonder if this was also part of Rain and Cadgan's plan to have Hector kind of be involved with this, or to have Silvereth more or less lead an expedition into the heart of the valley and to drag Hector and Manuel into it too. I mean, I don't see how, but it kind of feels like if he did it, if they did plan this, would it be a necessary sacrifice to have Hector walk directly into the valley? And not even into the valley, but like walk into the heart of the valley where the eye rests. Yeah. Then again, he did say that if you trusted him, that he would protect Hector from the valley. So I wonder if perhaps Rain is just skulking around right there, using his invisibility spell, waiting for Cadgan to reappear, but also watching Hector, to make sure that nothing bad is going to happen to him. Or by bad, I mean that the valley isn't going to try to get rid of him. Perhaps it is his magic that was what was making the forest seem a little bit more hostile before they got into the more deeper region of the Eye Valley. So many questions. I suppose we'll find out in the next part. But yeah, Hector now knows that Cadgan and Rain are one and the same, and that Rain does indeed hold the part of what was Cadgan in the past. What was child Cadgan, what eventually grew up and became the person that was, still waiting, pining for Hector. And that Cadgan is more or less holding on to maybe not the resentment, but the opposite side of that coin, from the wanting, the word is at the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember it. But the yearning for Hector to return and for them to be one again, together again. But Cadgan is holding on to that resentment, the hatred. Well, not maybe hatred, but the anger of being left behind and not knowing what happened in those 9 years that they were separated. And that is why Cadgan wasn't able to embrace Hector again. It was more like, oh, you're back. Finally. Whereas Rain was like, yes, he's back. I want to go kiss him. I want to go hug him, embrace him, and do things to him. But Cadgan did not have that capacity to be that excited for Hector being back. And if ever there was an instance where Cadgan was excited or was more or less amicable to Hector being back, it was probably because it was Rain influencing him. Or maybe even Rain sort of taking the reins, if you will, and being the one that was interacting with Hector more than Cadgan was. It is interesting to see the two sides. And again, Rain represented the wanting and yearning for Hector, while Cadgan represented the loneliness, the just the more slightly more negative aspect of that. But perhaps that it will change. And I wonder if there will ever be a time where the membrane that separates Cadgan and Rian will ever disappear and they will join as one. Because as far as I can understand, they were always two beings. It was always Rian who was little Cadgan, and that was the person that was interacting with Hector, and then there was Cadgan. I wonder if the whole cyclical lethargy was either sort of like a symptom of being the avatar for the sleeping dark god, or if it was Cadgan sort of taking over, but not really, not being able to. Like sort of how they're able to sort of like switch, like, oh, Cadgan wants to be the pilot this time, or no, Rian is going to be the pilot this time, etc., etc. And it's just something that they weren't able to do. This also means that the adult Cadgan version that we see was never actually the one interacting with Hector. It was always Rian. That's why Rian has much more of a childlike, well, maybe not childlike, but he's more emotional, I guess you could say. He is more in touch with his emotional side. He's more playful. He's more willing to. He's more human in a way than Cadgan. Cadgan is more cold and robotic. I mean, he is able to sort of emulate the emotions of being more playful, being more personable, but like it kind of seems that that's more Rian's area of expertise, if you will. Anyway, so what are your thoughts? Write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Devil's Gambit yourself or stay up to date with whatever it's going on with it, you can do so by going down to the link in the description, which would have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it yourself. If you would like to support the project, they do have a Patreon where you can subscribe and get earlier access to builds of Devil's Gambit, which, you know, is good, and it does help support the project. And I'm pretty sure that they also offer other stuff, so yeah. They do have a Discord in case you want to, you know, join it and chat about Devil's Gambit and share your theories or whatever. If you would like to support this channel, you can become a channel member, which gets you earlier access to these videos as they're being scheduled. This one you probably won't see until August, because there's like already like a backlog of like 3 weeks worth of videos. So yeah, sorry for the public people. But you know, you subscribe to become a channel member, you get to watch this video ahead of time. Anyways, but yeah, so, and it does help support the channel. Or you can help support it through Ko-fi. And, you know, any little donation helps. Seriously, it does. Or you can, if you're feeling very generous, there is Throne. There is stuff there that I personally want. But yeah. Also, in case you don't know, I do have cooking videos for channel members now. I'm gonna start making, or I'm gonna try to make more. It's kind of hard to think of things that like people would wanna watch. I know that somebody asked for a mole recipe, or like a mole making video or whatever. Like, I don't like mole. It's just chocolate chicken. Well, like chicken mole, it's just chocolate chicken, like, ugh. Not even my brother-in-law, may he rest in peace, who liked chicken, he detested mole. He would never eat it even if my sister made it or my mom made it. My mom's a very good cook. She's where I learned how to cook from. Like, ugh, chocolate chicken. I mean, I could ask Omar if they do have a recipe where it's like it's not that brown color. It's like a different color. It's different mole. I don't know. I'll look around, I guess. Anyways, but yeah, so there's that. Anyways, but yeah, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.